Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by Chinook Seedery. This is episode 564. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
564. The amount of career total home runs that Kyle Schwarber will have when he's all done. What do you think of that? That'd be a crazy receipt, by the way, if that ends up.
I'll make a mental note to log that one away.
564.
Save it for later. What are we at now with that? Where are we at with the career total for Kyle Schwarber? Actually, I'm more curious, where are we at on the all-time leaderboard with Kyle Schwarber? I mean, I know we still got a ways to go, but where does he rank in the pantheon of all-time sluggers?
Well, he's 32.
I didn't ask how old he is.
And 333 is the total. He's
120th. He just with his showing this weekend surpassed Moises Alou.
Good old Moises.
And Bobby Bonds. Actually, it was a 4-homer game. So really he passed Andrew McCutchen, JD Martinez, Derek Lee, Hank Greenberg, Bobby Bonds, Moises Alou in one night.
One night. Simple as that.
I'm glad you brought up Kyle Schwarber because I was
564.
I was planning.
That's my final guess. Crazy if he does that. 'Cause, let's see. Let's say, DH wise, let's just say he plays till he's 40. So we'll say 7 years left. 564 minus 333 is 231 home runs. Divide that by 7 years. That's only 33 home runs a year.
Sprinkle in a couple 40-homer seasons on the front end.
It's not outlandish.
I mean, what was Nelson? No, who am I thinking? Yeah. What was Nelson Cruz putting up at the end of his career? Let me see.
Yeah.
These are important questions. Nelson Cruz at the back end of his career, he put up 32 homers. He retired in 2023, but in 2021 put up 32 homers.
Yeah.
That's well within reach for Kyle Schwarber.
Then I feel like Schwarber, it seems more effortless in a way than Boomstick.
Really does.
Yeah. It's just a flick.
And Schwarber is gonna I'll go ahead and say Kyle Schwarber's gonna age gracefully. And I say that sort of tongue in cheek because after all, it is Kyle Schwarber. But I feel like with Kyle Schwarber, what you see is what you get. And I feel like that physique, you tell me that physique is not gonna age well over the next 7-8 years.
I'd like to look up the family tree and see if Babe Ruth is somewhere in there because it's the same body.
It's going to be the same body. It's going to be the same build. It's going to be the same skill set. You don't have to worry about speed.
Nope.
You don't have to worry about lateral movements in the field.
It's just what he is. He is what he is. I don't want to get like too recency bias here, but he just is who he is. He's a flat out power hitter.
Have we talked ourselves into Kyle Schwarber being the all-time home run leader when it's all said and done?
No, because my guess is 564.
He might go on. He might play till he's 50.
I need that to hold.
That's an aggressive but strong bet. 564.
I think we need to make note of that.
We'll revisit this in 7 years.
I have a lot of predictions that are way off.
What?
This one feels right.
Remind me, what does 7 years get us to? 40? Is that what you said?
It would be 39. Yeah, he's 32 right now. So 39, 40. I don't know when his birthday is. But like, I don't think it's crazy. Like Boomstick played till what, 42? Like when you have a DH that provides that juice late in the career, it's like you're going to continue to get shots. I don't know if he'll be a Philly.
Phillies fans are going to be. I saw a tweet in response to a game this week, or no, I guess it was while Friday's game was going on with or was that Thursday, the 4-homer game? I think it might have been Thursday. I saw a tweet where it was like, thanks, whoever was like broadcasting the game, thanks for letting us know that Phillies fans would be upset if they didn't re-sign Kyle Schwarber. It's like, yeah, everybody wants Kyle Schwarber right now.
Dumb.
Red Sox included. Come back home, Kyle. Come back home. But wow.
Yeah, this feels like home.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah, it does.
No, but I'm glad you brought up Kyle Schwarber. Granted, I was gonna maybe bring him up second, but since we're on the topic, let's dive right into Kyle Schwarber. This MVP conversation. Forget being the first guy ever in baseball history to hit 800 plus homers, because it sounds like, based on what we just sort of analyzed, that's where this is headed, which will be something worth talking about if and when that time comes. However, the here and now, Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani, MVP race, or lack thereof. I don't know, Nate. Where do we fall? Where do we fall on the Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani MVP conversation? Because I think I went back and forth a minimum of 3 times in preparing for this particular segment, and I'll be quite honest with you, I'm still on the fence about it. I'm
pretty on the fence.
I can't exactly say.
On the fence.
You want to know why I'm sort of on the fence?
Why is that, Kyle?
Because from a pitching standpoint, Shohei Ohtani is not really giving you much more than what Joey Bag of Potatoes in AAA could provide you. And that's
no disrespect to Joey.
No disrespect to Joey, no disrespect to Shohei, but for the longest time, or potatoes. We love Idaho. No disrespect to Shohei, but this year being a transition year for him, getting back to the mound, which good for him. Honestly, the fact that he's back, the fact that he's at the very least giving him innings, mad respect, crazy respect to Shohei. And again, he's a unicorn. We know this. It's been well established. It's been in the league long enough that this conversation has, I want to say, run its course in terms of reminding people that he also does pitch. Like, I think most baseball fans, most people in the world even, know that he pitches. However, if what you're doing when you go out there on the year is to a tune of a 4.18 ERA with a whip of 121, Mr. Bag of Potatoes in AAA most likely could offer you something equal or even better in value.
Yeah.
So with that said, for me, the two-way advantage that Shohei would normally hold in this situation / conversation,
it's not in the argument this year.
Kind of goes out the window. So ultimately, we're talking about 2 DHs, and at that point, you can have the conversation of like, okay, then who's having the better season offensively? Shohei to date has a WAR of 5.6, Schwarber 4.4. Shohei has more hits, 4 fewer homers, fewer RBIs. I'm not doing that math. More swipes, hitting for a greater average, higher OBP, greater slug, greater OPS, greater OPS plus. However, can I spring something on you?
Shout out Schwarber for at least he has 10 swipes. Like, that's like,
Yeah, maybe I need to apologize. Maybe I need to backtrack a little bit. I said earlier, so you don't have to worry about speed. Maybe he took that personally. Slash is taking it personally.
Yeah.
Because once he gets moving, he can move.
What were you gonna say?
I'm gonna bring up a conversation that we have never talked about on this podcast. Ever. We haven't even thought about we haven't had the thought to even think about talking about this particular topic on the podcast. And that is, what does the V in MVP stand for? We've definitely never talked about this before. And this definitely is never something that we talk about this time of year every year.
Yeah.
So for the first time, let's talk about it. Kyle Schwarber, Shohei Ohtani. Who is more valuable to their team right now? I'll be honest with you. I think as I said, we know what Shohei is. We know what he brings to the table. But I was a little genuinely surprised when you take a little bit closer of a look at what the team is doing offensively, or maybe not doing offensively, and you're going, okay, well, maybe, the typical value that we associate with Shohei, it might be even a little bit more this year, given how decimated they are with injuries and this, that, and the third. But to you, sorry, I didn't mean to preface it or qualify it, but to you, who's more valuable to their team right now?
I think it's still Shohei. But I don't necessarily feel like I can go the value argument. I think it's what's naturally going to happen for those writers that are on the fence is what you have already brought up. Like Shohei winning, the last 2 years, the first year being dominant on both sides. Last year being so dominant as just a DH that it's like you can't help but vote for him. This year, it's like you said, like pitching is kind of a non-factor. And it's not, I think the argument against Shohei is like, you're not voting for Shohei versus Schwarber. You're voting this year's Shohei versus the last few years Shohei. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, what have we seen as far as dominance out of this guy? Because the way he's dominated in the past isn't what's happening this year. And I don't think that you can avoid that conversation in your head. It's not as simple and black and white as how is he against Kyle Schwarber in this argument, or what the value is necessarily. It's like we're used to full-on dominance one way or another, whether it's both on the mound or in the box, or just so dominant in the box we don't care about the mound. This is like a tweener for both. Really good offensively. I can't tear him down for, approaching 50 home runs potentially this year. But you're like, I've seen better things from this guy before.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, this isn't Shohei Ohtani versus Kyle Schwarber. This MVP race is Shohei Ohtani versus himself.
That's right.
That's an interesting take. Got to hand it to you, my friend. That's an interesting take. One I hadn't considered.
See,
because to your point,
you said we have never talked about that before. I've actually brought something that I don't think we've ever officially talked about before.
Legitimately have never talked about before. That's an interesting point. And you're right. With how dominant he was, whether he was doing it both ways or just offensively, the level at which he played, the performance output that existed in those seasons in which he won MVP, it was almost an automatic, unanimous. So if you're a voter, you were looking at Shohei Ohtani in 2025 and saying, how does that stack up? Because if that's unanimous, if that's worthy of my vote and everybody else's vote, then he's your MVP. Yeah. But if it falls short, then okay, it lends itself to a maybe a broader conversation to include a guy like Kyle Schwarber.
Exactly. And I think that like if you go across the other league and say like, okay, well, why isn't that argument for Aaron Judge? Is that like you've seen other aspects of his game get better, right? Like you've seen the average creep up. You look at Shohei and it's like he's pretty much doing similarly to what he always does. The doubles are way down. He's at 17 doubles this year compared to 38 last year. He's at 45 home runs compared to 54 last year. He's not going to do that. RBIs are down. I understand the, shifting into the leadoff spot, but everything else is like right around what he's averaging all the time. Whereas Aaron Judge, it's like, okay, well, the batting average is going up. The strikeouts are going down. The home runs are still the same. The OPS is still the same, but other aspects of his game are developing. And it's weird to sit here and argue against that, but like obviously because of the surgery and like the change in game plan with Shohei, you're kind of taking away from his skill set in a way this year. Obviously a massive drop in stolen bases, right? And we're putting you on the mound, but we're only going to do a few innings. And it's like, I think the luxury of having a Shohei and being the LA Dodgers is like, I don't care how you do during the regular season. If we can get you to a point where you're going to be super productive on both sides of the ball come postseason time, that's the main focus. I think that's great. But when we're talking MVP of a regular season, he's kind of fighting against himself because you see this Shohei and you're like, that's not the full-on Shohei that we're used to. And I don't know if that necessarily means that you give it to Schwarber. But I feel like there's a crack in the door more than most years.
Yeah, maybe there's a little more reluctance isn't the right word, but it's not as like, okay, here you go, Shohei. Like, kind of since day one, we knew this was coming.
Yeah,
it's maybe more of like you're giving it to him, but you also got an eye over on Schwarber. You're going, I maybe could have thrown my vote that way.
Yeah.
But regarding his pitching, I know what I said earlier about, Joey bag of potatoes and all that, but it's possible that he's turning a corner with that. We still have a month left. Presumably limited time to right the ship, but he is coming off an outing against the Reds from this weekend, I believe, where he went 5 innings, had 9 Ks, and then 3 starts before that, had 8 Ks and 4 innings against the Cardinals. So he's sprinkled in some of vintage Shohei on the mound that like I said, with it, maybe if he builds off of that in this last month, it brings the overall counting numbers down a little bit and presents a prettier picture that maybe does make this decision a little bit easier. But as of right now, it just, to me, outside of the fact that he, again, can physically do it, and at the very least is giving you innings, outside of that, I don't know how much value it's really bringing.
I think that's what's always lost in the argument. It's always lost in the conversation because everyone in social media that's in the Ohtani camp is going to say he can hit and pitch. That's just like, when you dumb it down to that every year, you can't just give him the MVP every year because of that. Obviously, it's impressive. But I think the performance in the past almost hinders his ability to take home the award this year.
And to your point about dumbing it down, that I think that's, for a lot of people, that's where the fatigue sets in.
Yep.
I'm not saying that I or you or anybody around us has fallen victim to that necessarily, but for people that are like, okay, we get it, he does both, but is he doing them both well enough to warrant the praise that it's getting? And up to this season, he had, when he was doing it both ways. But this year, like I said, it's
like just take the stolen bases stat category by itself. Like it sucks. And I don't blame the Dodgers for having this game plan of keeping him healthy and focusing on like getting him back to being a pitcher. But when you know that he has nearly 60 stolen bases in the tank and you're only getting 17, he may finish at 20 this year. Like it feels weird to sit here and say that, like, oh yeah, that's the Shohei we're used to, but it's not. You're getting, I don't know, to quote the Jazz Chisholm crap, like you're getting the 70%. You know, and that's insane. And that is still impressive. The fact that he's still favorited as the MVP in odds. The fact that we're still having, it's a two-man race at this point, but like the fact that we're still having that conversation and you're not even getting 100% Shohei speaks incredible volumes to the player he is and the generational talent. But I think when we look at this like in a vacuum and like have to kind of focus on what this year is and what this regular season means, I think there's a window here that you could vote Schwarber.
And to that point, baseball fans are vultures. We are hungry for competition. We are hungry for drama. And when Shohei Ohtani is as dominant, has been as dominant as he has over the last however many years, we finally have a year where there's a little bit of a chink in the armor. Kyle Schwarber's having a career year, and we're going, okay, there actually could be a legitimate race here. Let's dive deeper into the conversation. And depending upon which side of the fence you fall, you may just end up staying there by the end of the season. But at least leading up to the conclusion of the regular season, it's at least a conversation as it pertains to Shohei possibly earning another MVP or not. And I think that's why we're just so eager to have this conversation and to really latch onto this, because it's very possible that Shohei just goes back to being Shohei next year, and we don't even there's not even a conversation to be had.
I don't envy the riders this year. These are two very tough races to call. And maybe these last few weeks really just give some clarity to that. But I don't envy that vote, man. That's tough.
Look, man, I'm not saying that they would collude to redirect narratives or anything, but given what we talked about last episode, given what we talked about with the Schwarber and Judge race, with Ohtani and Schwarber,
Cal and Judge.
What did I say?
You said Judge and Schwarber. You said Schwarber both leagues, which is good for Schwarber.
Good for Schwarber doing it. You know, Shohei can pitch and hit, but Schwarber can get it done in both leagues.
You're already realignment. You're like, the Phillies
he'll be
the
there.
East.
He'll be the, or he'll just be in Boston, either or.
Yeah.
No, but between Judge and Raleigh, Ohtani and Schwarber, the writers have a real opportunity to make a joint statement here, you know, in both leagues. It's not just like, okay, well, Shohei, let's just focus on the American League because Shohei's run away with this. Like, no, you have two opportunities here to really take a stance on what the V in MVP stands for.
Yeah.
To really take a stance as to whether or not you believe this is just the best player award, the most valuable player award, the highest WAR award, the most homers award.
Right.
There's a chance to take a stance here.
You're not wrong, my friend.
To your point, though, I don't envy it. All right. Enough Schwarber. I could talk about Schwarber all day. Love that guy. But let's talk about these few division races that we've got in the mix right now. 3 of which are within 3 games. Coming into Monday, starting the week fresh. Labor Day, coming into Labor Day. You've got the Yankees 3 games behind the Jays, the Mariners 2 games behind the Astros, and the Padres 2 games behind the Dodgers. Which of these races, well, it's kind of, I feel like I should have already known the answer to this question, but try to take off your hat and look at this objectively.
We can't beat anybody that matters, so I don't...
Look at this objectively. No, I'm not even going to say which of these teams could overtake. I'm simply asking, of these 3 races, which of these to you is most... Which of these is most titillating? Like, which of these just tickles your fancy a little bit, where you're like, you know, if I was the Rob Lowe wearing the MLB hat, and I didn't really care one way or another, didn't have a dog in the race.
He's also now a massive Dodger fan, by the way, if you notice it. Yeah.
We're going to ignore that for the sake of this exercise. You're Rob Lowe wearing the MLB hat.
Okay.
Which of these three races that, again, within 3 games, interests you most?
I'm trying to remember, and you can maybe tell me if you can remember off the top of your head, but I feel like when we were talking about second half schedule difficulty a few weeks ago, I think you mentioned that the Dodgers and the Padres were like neck and neck, like ranked one after another.
They were, yeah.
As far as schedule difficulty goes, right?
That has since changed. The Dodgers entering Monday, Labor Day. The Padres have the easiest strength of schedule.
Of all of baseball?
Correct. Yes. In baseball, the 30th toughest schedule. The Dodgers are 26th. So a little bit of a gap has come into play here, but not much there in terms of, similarity. Yeah. The narrative or the conversation still exists there. It's still valid.
Yeah. I mean, I can't help, but I think it's the best rivalry in baseball. I think I can't help but want to see how this ends every year, whether it is a divisional race or whether it is a matchup in the postseason. Like, it is must-see TV. This gives me like Patriots Giants vibes in the late 2010s. Like, this is the one to watch. 100% is. Both have some Achilles heels. Both have star power. Like, I don't know. I can't keep my eyes off of that one.
Remind me, what was the first year we saw the expanded postseason? 2022.
I was going to say 1, but 2022.
Expanded from 10 teams to 12. Okay, so this is interesting. Hear me out. Follow me.
Okay.
Track with me. The most recent expansion, as we mentioned, 2022. The last time we saw the Dodgers not win the division was 2021. So this was pre-expansion or, postseason expansion.
Yeah.
In the 3 years, or no, excuse me, in the 4 years since then, we've seen the Dodgers win the division. I would be curious to see, as it relates to this 2-game spread between the Padres and Dodgers, I would be interested to see what a Dodgers not getting a first-round bye would look like.
Yeah.
And what impact, if any, that would have on a series with the Padres.
Yeah,
and flip-flop how it would affect the Padres.
Same thing. I think there's less of a pitching depth question with the Padres. But I mean, when you look at the Dodgers, you gotta wonder, can they make it through that long of a run? Can they do it without the extra time off? Can you just offensively bludgeon teams the first couple rounds and not necessarily need to worry about pitching depth? Like, there's some questions there.
I'm wondering less even about the depth and more about the mindset, more about the approach. Like, this is obviously a very strange year for the Dodgers when talking about health and things of that nature, and not necessarily running away with the division as they've done in years past. You throw all those wrenches into the mix. Why not throw another wrench into the mix? Not saying, again, you don't want to go into the last month of a season being like, no, let's shoot for that wild card. We don't want the division. That's not what I'm suggesting. But if you're the Dodgers and you do end up with the wild card spot, why not just roll with it? Be like, it's been a minute since we've been in a situation like this. It's already sort of a weird year. Let's build. Let's roll into the wild card as hot as we can, and take advantage for once of not having to sit on our heels for a week and see how things go.
You'd almost certainly get the Cubs. Whoever doesn't win, I mean, it just barring anything crazy, and anything can happen in the 4 or 5 weeks that we have left, but that second place wild card spot in the NL currently has a 3-game lead over the Mets for that last wild card spot. You're getting the Cubs, and look, the Cubs would be near the top of most divisions at the moment, but the Brewers have just laid a little smackdown on the entire league. So it's not like the Cubs are just anything to just shrug off.
Not at all. Let's put a pin in that though, because I've got a thought on that I want to get your take on here in just a minute. But before we move on to that, looking at these other two races, you've made your thoughts about the Yankees and their chances abundantly clear. And if you're listening and you recall, I sort of had to come to that same realization after the series with the Sox, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I kind of get it now."
They're just not that good.
I kind of get it why Yankee fans get so pissed off with this team so often. I after watching them a little more closely.
This is a 7-game win streak take, by the way, too. But when you look at it, it's like it's the Nationals and the White Sox.
Correct.
Big
I saw something the other day, like their record against teams over 500 in the last 2-3 months or something. I don't remember what the time frame was, but it's like, yeah, they go on these runs, sure, but when you really look at who it is that they're going on, they're supposed to win these games, of course. I'm not taking that away, but all that say, I get why Yankee fans are more irritated than not. Think there's a little degree of being a little over the top, but I get it. I get it.
You see where I'm coming from.
So I won't even ask you about that. But with this Astros-Mariners division race, correct me if I'm wrong, but were we not fully anticipating yet another instance of the Astros just running away with it? And the fact that we've got a month to go, it's still within the realm of possibility. But the fact that we have now entered the month of September and the Mariners are still hanging around.
Bring up the strength of schedule again with some of these AL teams.
The Mariners have the 24th toughest, so the 6th easiest schedule in all of baseball. They've got 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Astros, 3 against the Royals, but they've got, on the flip side, their easiest opponents, they've got 3 against the Rockies, 3 against the Braves, 4 against the Angels, 3 against the Rays, and 3 against the Cardinals.
Not trying to be a homer here, but this Yankees-Astros series that's about to start tomorrow, for some of you listening even today, that holds a lot of weight for both divisions.
And the Yankees,
very interesting.
The Yankees are part of the problem for the Astros. They've got the 13th toughest schedule. They've got remaining. They've got 3 against the Jays, 3 against the Yankees, 3 against the Mariners, 6 against the Rangers, who can be peskier than not.
Yeah.
And they've only got 3 against the Braves, 3 against the A's, 4 against the Angels. So a little bit tougher of a go for the Astros. And again, remind you, 2 games separating the two. So again, the only reason I brought up this race is not to say that I'm more intrigued by this one, because I think most people would say more attention should and presumably will be given to the Dodgers-Padres race, because whether or not people want to admit it or not, the best rivalry in baseball right now. I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
But again, the only reason I brought up Astros-Mariners is just given the lack of distance between these two teams with with under a month left to go.
And something to note about the Yankees, I remember hearing this and I wanted to look it up. 2 of their last 3 series of the season is against the Orioles. So when you talk about like the Yankees like strength of schedule being easier, the Orioles have been a lot better than what the first half has pegged them as. They've been a lot more competitive, and not to mention it is an in-division matchup that like the Yankees just have been terrible against their division this year. So the last 2 weeks are really going to say a lot for the AL East. And I don't know what the Jays and what the Red Sox look like as far as their matchups go, but that makes things very interesting and something to absolutely watch out for, because the Orioles are not rolling over by any means.
No, and like outside of it, and I'm not doing this to be smart. The outside of a 4-game sweep to the Red Sox, I mean, the Red Sox there for a while, we're just rolling. So like I'm not necessarily saying that plays a factor here. But they objectively, I do think they have, like you said, I think they have been better than maybe what people remember the first half Orioles being.
Yeah.
You know, they took the series against the Mariners. They took a series against the Astros right after. And you know, like I said, the 4-game sweep of the Red Sox hit a little bit of a stumbling block there. They dropped this weekend against the Giants. Yeah, they dropped that one. Not particularly close either, but all in all, could play spoiler here down the stretch, and I think this wouldn't be the first time the Orioles have done that either. They like being pesky, especially when it comes to other division other division teams for sure. Going back to what I had put a pin in, I wanted to get your take on it. Buy or sell? The postseason field today is already set.
Not necessarily placement, just the field itself.
Not placement, just field.
I'll buy that.
You're gonna buy that. You're going out on a limb, and you're gonna say the teams that currently hold a postseason spot today will be playing in October.
Yeah. No disrespect to the Reds or the Rangers or even the Royals.
Are those, let me ask you this, are those your 3 bubble teams? You're not including the Giants, not including the D-backs, just because they're there, not including the Cardinals, and not including the Guardians.
Correct.
So your 3 bubble teams that could upset that take would be the Rangers, Royals, and Reds.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair to say?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have the guts to agree with you. But I feel like as short of a window of time, less than a month feels like, I feel like on the flip side, it also allows for, there still is time at the end of the day. And I feel like one of these teams could just, it's going to be
flounder.
No disrespect to the Marlins, but like you think back like a few years back when it was like, what was that? Was that 2020, 2021, where it's like the Marlins get in? It's like, what do you do? Or even
it's 2020.
Was it last year that the Braves like backed their way in that doubleheader? Yeah. Was that last year?
Yeah, that was stupid.
Where it's like, what are you doing here? It's like, yeah, no, we're gonna have a case of that, and it's just a matter of who. Is that gonna be the Reds? Is it gonna be the Rangers? Is it gonna be the Royals? And like you said, no disrespect, Rangers 4 games over 500 right now, 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight, playing good ball at the right time. But do we feel like they're more deserving to be in than these other wild card teams? I don't know. Could I see a Cincinnati Reds team squeaking into a wild card series and getting swept out? Absolutely. So as much as I want to say that the field is set, I don't know that I can commit to that right now. But
It's understandable.
I applaud your commitment.
How many games do the Mets have on the road left? Let's see. They're currently 28-37 on the road. What is that? That's
65.
65. So they have 17 games left on the road.
No, that'd be
12 games left.
Holy smokes. Why is
17.
math so hard sometimes? 16 games.
16 games left on the road.
81 minus 65. 16 games.
Tough. That's a tough look. 16 games left on the road out of how many games left this season?
What's the record?
73-64.
73-64.
Yeah.
137.
That's how many they've played.
They played, yeah. Hold on. 160. I see where you're trying to get to. I don't know why I just didn't finish that for you. What did I say? 162. We're going to get there. 162 minus 25 games.
So of the 25 games left this year, 17 of them are on the road.
Did I say 16?
16 of them
16.
are on the road.
Yeah.
And they are 9 games under 500 on the road this year.
We're talking Mets, correct?
We're talking Mets.
Dude. Let's look at this a little more closely. Fourth toughest remaining schedule in baseball. 3 against the Tigers, 4 against the Padres, 3 against the Cubs, 3 against the Padres, 3 against the Rangers, and 3 against the Reds.
It ends with the Reds.
That's what it says. That's the last team listed under the toughest opponents column. Let me see. Hold on. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
I wish Reds end against the Pirates and the Brewers.
No, their final 3 series are against the Nats. The last 4 series: Padres, Nats, Cubs, Marlins. The Reds are actually this coming weekend in Cincy.
The Mets might cough this up, man.
Is there a situation, a scenario where the Mets aren't playing postseason baseball in 2025?
Wow. There is a scenario. Wow.
I think we're just blindly accepting the fact that the Mets are going to be in the postseason. I don't know that that's a lock.
They've been bad on the road.
28-37.
16 of their remaining 25 games are on the road against some tough teams.
So what did we say? 16 of their
last 25.
25. Okay, so let's figure out. Okay, so this is interesting. Oh, okay, so they're playing the Tigers right now. Game 1 of that series. They play the Tigers on the road. They play the Reds on the road. They play the Phillies in a 4-game set on the road. They play the Cubs on the road. They play the only games that they have left at home are against the Nationals.
And they're great at home. So you can almost chalk up that to be at least a series win, if not sweep.
Right, but it's the teams they're playing on the road that are only going to add to their headaches, I feel like, which
yeah. But you got to also got to bring up the fact that it's a 3-game deficit. So the Reds need to play good ball. It can't just be the Mets lose this thing. The Reds need to also really compete.
Yikes, dude. The Reds have the 2nd toughest schedule in baseball.
Even
worse than the Mets.
This is if the Reds get in, this is where you watch out. Because once they're in, if this is what they had to fight through to get in, that's the team of destiny that you love to mention, that you're like,
I love it.
Look out. So that's fun to watch, man. That's fun to watch. Side note, and I'm just going to sprinkle this in any opportunity I can. Suck
Please.
it, NL. Suck it.
Whoa,
We talked
whoa,
about
whoa.
how much better the NL was than the AL all year.
So what are you basing this off of? What are the grounds?
Look at the AL teams. Look at the overall records. Look at that wild card race. I think the AL is better. I think there's more teams in the hunt. I think it's just a better league. It's a better race.
Trying to see here. I'm really just I'm looking at it through the lens of the eye test. Like, which of these teams, like how many of these American League teams could you see winning the World Series versus how many of the National League teams?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm more so just like looking at like the fact that the 70 win Royals are 3 games back, you know? And
was this just
leapfrog some people to get in?
Was this just a result of the National League cooling off over the last month?
I think so.
Kind of coming back down to earth a little bit.
I think this is why I love baseball, man. You got to play the full season. It's a marathon. We seem to, and I fall victim to it all the time. But we as a fan base just forget. This is a marathon. There's a reason we play 162. Don't ever change that, by the way. No need to drop it down. This is perfect, and it's going to bring drama these last few weeks. And they're gonna see teams that need every inning of these remaining 25 to 27 games left, whatever they have.
I don't know what I would do with my time if they reduce the season, even by like 30 games.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, thanks. We need this.
We have, as baseball fans, we have nothing else. It's literally just our baseball teams, and that's kind of it.
And it shows you how close competitively all of these teams are. And again, we fall victim to like the sprint mentality versus marathon all the time. We wrote off the Mariners weeks ago, and they're 2 games back.
I don't know if we is the accurate descriptor there.
I think you did more than I did.
I recall no such thing.
Moving on.
Yeah. Let's move on. Before we do that, though, let me take it one step further, and then we'll move on to our next topic. All right, so you are buying that the postseason field is already set, and you actually alluded to it in trying to clarify the question. Let me take it a step further. Buy or sell, the postseason seeding as of today is already set.
So I'm gonna sell that.
What is happening in the standings? Or which scenario, which aspect of the standings would lead you to sell?
The AL East. I don't know what that's going to end up being. But there's a lot going on there.
I'll be honest with you, and I'm not just saying this to rub salt in the wound. Well, maybe a little bit. But I am your friend, so not to the fullest extent if you weren't.
Sure.
The Yankees have fewer losses and thus are half a game up on the Red Sox. However, I cannot look beyond, envision a scenario where this is any other division race other than the Jays and Red Sox right now. I don't know why. And people may look at me and go, what are you talking about? Yankee fans will be like, what are you talking about? Maybe the delusional ones. But for some reason, I feel like the Red Sox are poised right now, positioned to really take off. Or not even take off, but to build off of this momentum that they've built up. I would say since the deadline, been playing noticeably better ball. But the Yankees, I feel like, are just kind of hanging around. Do you see a situation or a scenario where the Yankees get hot over this last month? Because if not, it's going to be the Red Sox.
What they do to me. They do this to me every year. They give me false hope every year. So yes, I could see a hot streak, and I could see me buying back in because I'm here to sign up for the misery over and over and over. We're sick in the head. We are sick in the head. So sign me up. Sign me up to break my heart once again. Get hot. Win the division. Sign me up. I'm here for it all over again, like a sickness. This is what we are. This is what we do.
I know you're talking Yankees, but you probably described like half of the league right there. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people resonate with that.
Yeah. Yep.
The only part where maybe some people had to bow out is when you're like, win the division, because there's probably half of the league where it's like, well, that's not even on our goal sheet to start the year.
Sure.
We're just happy to be above 500.
Right.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I'm sick in the head for sure. All right, moving along here. We got a little taste of vintage Verlander this weekend. That was really cool to see. That was really cool to see. He and Scherzer, and I think I've mentioned that somewhat recently. I've sort of given a little bit of a nod to those two. Scherzer, I mean, outside of yesterday, kind of crapped the bed a little bit. Fortunately, it didn't cost me in the fantasy league semifinals because that would have been
almost
tough.
Emotionally, I don't think you could ever support Scherzer again if a fart start kept you out of the championship.
Yeah, that would have been real tough. I deleted the app yesterday. I was watching. I said, "This is where it ends." I was like, "Should I even put Scherzer up against the Brewers?" I was
sick in the head, man.
That was a stupid decision.
Shout out Ben.
Shout out our guy Ben.
Outscored the entire league this regular season by what, like 400 points or something?
It was like 1,000, but yeah.
An unbelievable showing and just decimated by injuries.
Real quick on that. Look, and this is me just giving props to somebody in our fantasy league. I know certain people may be like, I don't care about your fantasy league, but for those that are fantasy sickos that, we just geek out about this kind of stuff, let me just share with you the fortune I had. He lost. Oh, he dropped him. He was clearing space, but from what I recall, he dropped Zach Wheeler, Nate Eovaldi. There was somebody else I feel like too. Just decimated with not just like guys having good year, like career years.
Yeah.
Gets hit with that. And you just, that's why I can't even take any shots, because I'm like, if those guys could even stand upright and contribute to that team, I'm probably not winning. But anywho's, that's baseball, Susan, as they say. But talking about arms. Let's talk Verlander here versus the O's yesterday, Sunday. 5 innings, 10 Ks. Nate, do you know how many pitches he threw yesterday?
I don't.
Melvin let Verlander go out there for 121 pitches.
Hello.
Granted, it was across 5 innings, as I mentioned. So, do with that what you will. But getting him in line for the win.
Speaking of Buehler, by the way, not to go too much random here, but did you see that little spat with him and Willie Adames in the dugout?
Yeah, what was that about? I never saw what that stemmed from or what it amounted to.
I don't know. It's hard for me to not just like, if I put myself in Buehler's shoes, I'm just like, I'm taking him down to the tunnel. We're not going to do this with cameras pick up everything, mics pick up everything. We're not going to do this. You're not going to you're not just going to be openly disrespectful. I can understand having spats with managers. There's grown men versus grown men there. It's like, I think we kind of forget that, but like, we're going to go talk and we're going to make this private. You're not just going to openly yell at me in front of the team. And
I have a take to that. I could even understand getting in in a spat in front of the cameras with like a first or second year manager. Not that I'm condoning that, but we're talking about Bob Melvin here.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
been around the block. Like, let's read the room. And I get it. Like, sometimes cooler heads don't always prevail. But like, read the room a little bit. Like, let's to your, like you said, take it to the tunnel.
But anyway, yeah, good for. I mean, like, what I think Verlander's just chasing stats now. So like, let him do whatever he wants.
Literally.
Yeah.
But what was cool about that 121 pitches, I saw that it was the most he's thrown in a start since I think 2018.
Neat.
Which, you know, love to see moments like this. And honestly, we, like I mentioned, Scherzer, it's been really cool to see not only contribute, like pitching well, but doing it for a team where it actually means something and matters.
Yeah.
Like, he could be throwing important innings for this team in October, which is
100%.
which is really cool given the, you know, the arc of his career. Very cool. You got any other notes on that? Or you?
No.
Okay. Well, speaking of throwing impactful innings in the postseason, Red Sox locked up Aroldis Chapman, who
Big Chapman guy.
let's pray that he'll be throwing impactful innings in the postseason.
Big Chapman guy.
I said no such thing.
Oh yeah, you are.
But
You're
this
hyped
is-
about this.
Wow, he's the best closer in baseball right now.
Yeah, big Chapman guy. Oh, wow, the turntables.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big Chapman guy right now. I'm not gonna lie. You know, we can look past the booby honking.
Sure, dude, sure.
If you're
Anything for Dubs.
if
You're such a
anything for
sellout
Dubs, baby. You know, I don't condone whatever that was, but you know, if I'm willing to look past it, if we can get some extra dubs out of you, you know.
Yeah.
Did you see, by the way, that video floating around where Buster Olney was explaining like why he's gotten so much better this year? Did you see that?
No, I don't think so.
Very interesting. And whether or
The
not
mechanical, what is it?
apparently it's like mental. Whether or not you want to believe it is another thing. I mean, it's what Buster Olney is saying, but apparently Aroldis Chapman just was unaware that he had the freedom to spot fastballs for the majority, if not the entirety of his career. He just thought, because
that checks out. Yeah.
Because I have my fastball and because of the speed at which I can throw said fastball, I don't need to spot it. But apparently, as he's begun to use this pitch comm system more, apparently, I think Buster said Connor Wong was catching him in a game like spring training or early in the season, and apparently he like having the location preference fed to him
really
re-emphasize mentally, like, okay, like this is where I need to look. And Buster only went on to say that they think that he's adopted the whole aim small, miss small mentality, which didn't exist before. And now we're looking at a walk rate that is less than half of what it was in seasons prior to this year.
That's pretty cool.
Something got tweaked, something got fixed that has led him to be the closer that he's been this year.
And that's the least analytical story you've ever told me. And I know it involves stats and I know it involved things like that, but like that's the part of the game that like you can't equate, that you can't predict. And it's just a little mental tweak that's why our sport is great. Then also like when you're used to seeing pitchers get to this age and having to recreate themselves because they've lost velocity, he's recreating himself while still having the velocity, which is insane. So
doesn't even feel legal.
Yeah. What was the deal again? Remind me.
$13.3 million deal, just 1 year for the 2026 season that includes a 2027 vesting option. Chapman will be guaranteed $26 million over 2 years if he pitches at least 40 innings next season. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know how many innings he has this year, so I'd be curious to see where that.
I guess it's over.
He's got no, for sure. But I'm just
30 saves at least.
I'm just curious how far ago we surpassed that. So he's got 53 innings, and we've got a month left in the season. So assuming health checks out, next year. I don't know. I don't see why that wouldn't kick in.
The guy takes care of his body better than 99% of the league. So,
which is crazy considering the build. I mean, I get it. I guess if you have that kind of build, you have to take those extra steps to protect that. But
yeah,
that could easily go south. I feel like real quick because not many guys have that kind of build. Speaking of the Red Sox, recently released Walker Buehler signs with the Phillies, will be eligible for the postseason. And I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, I think you and I maybe agree here. I just feel like it's a guarantee that we're going to see Walker Buehler throwing meaningful innings for the Phillies in October.
Yeah. Whatever role he's going to absorb, I see him locking in. Would not be surprised.
In thinking about why it just didn't work in Boston.
Yeah, tell me what you observed, because I've been tapped out on Walker Buehler's performances here. So what have you seen?
Well, he was constantly overextending himself. He was working deep in almost every count. Just walking guys, was not limiting traffic, was not, maintaining any level of efficiency.
Okay.
They tried pushing him to the pen, didn't exactly work out there. I think he had a couple one or two outings in the pen, just didn't really work. So I saw that Craig Breslow wanted to let him go out of respect for what he's done in his career, so that he could just, latch on right away with somebody that wanted to give him another chance. The Phillies, apparently, when the Red Sox went to Philly, he threw the ball well. Dombrowski was quoted as saying, like, we liked what we saw. We've had some conversations with him. I think they had like a video call or something, talking with their pitching coach. They've identified some things that they feel like they could maybe work on, maybe change, hopefully, right the ship a little bit. But in thinking about why it didn't work in Boston, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just like, too far east. Forgetting that even though he was a Dodger, like, he's from Kentucky. So it's not like, it's not this like culture shock where, I was this, SoCal guy for forever. And to a degree, he was for some period of time. But I thought that maybe that was it. So then I was like, well, then maybe Philly's not going to work either. But when you think like, he's from Kentucky, maybe it's not a location thing. It brings me back to the middle where I'm like, okay, maybe it could work out. And it's possible. It's quite possible that he finds success in Philly because he's a postseason pitcher. And I think if Boston had the flexibility to, they just called up Peyton Tolley on Friday.
Cool call-up story.
Very excited about. Yeah. Very cool story there. But I think if they had the flexibility, if they had, if they're leading the division by X amount of games, and they had some opportunities to, play around with personnel,
you might have seen him stay.
Maybe they ride it out and be like, well, let's just get him to October and then we'll count on him there. But we just can't afford that right now. But I think he finds, I think he'll do okay. I think he'll be serviceable for the Phillies. I do.
Yeah. I'm with you.
I do. Closing the book here, unless you got anything else on Chapman or Buehler. Corey Seager is out for I think they said like ultimately an undisclosed amount of time. He had an appendectomy, which
been there.
I from what you've told me, from what I've read, I don't want to experience that. I
was 7, so I don't remember too much about it, but
does not sound fun.
Yeah. It's what's scary is that, like, if the appendix does explode and blow up inside you, have like a limited amount of time before it needs to get out. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. That's like your core, dude. Like, that's it's hard to say. I have no idea. This guy just can't stay healthy, though. It sucks.
It really does suck. I was unaware of the circumstances surrounding this. Apparently, he was pulled from the game in what was a blowout, and I think Bochy included thought that this was just a situation of like, oh, okay, let's fans and, people that were tuned into the game thought like, oh, this is just like a load management kind of thing. Like keep him off his feet for a few innings, game's out of hand. But apparently it was because Seager was just like, yeah, no, like something's off. And so they, I guess, I don't know how it works entirely, but I guess ran some tests and realized like, oh shoot, like we gotta get this done.
Yeah.
So big blow for the Rangers who, whether or not you think they're going to squeak in doesn't help. Even though he's having a pedestrian year for his standards, I think.
Yeah, but he's a spotlight guy for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You don't want to lose a guy like Seager, but I don't think he's been ruled out for a potential postseason run, but could.
I could see him coming back for the postseason if they get in. But I would say like see how these next few weeks go, and if you're not closing the gap, I don't see the point in bringing him back.
I agree. Get him back for next year,
which sucks because that's the whole, like we just talked about. The last few weeks of the season are always dramatic and must-watch TV, so it stinks not having a true down-the-stretch vet like a Corey Seager.
Speaking of a vet, Aaron Judge, pretty cool moment in Yankee history. Now among the top 5 all-time Yankees on the homers list. Very cool. Tied Yogi Berra with 358 over the weekend against the White Sox. Dude, I don't.
It's kind of hard to fathom.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where did the time go?
Yeah.
Like, where did the time go?
I think that's what's also impressive too, is that it hasn't been like this 15-year career with them. Like he hasn't been there very long. It shows that how impressive that is. But they read something off in the broadcast that this is like the first change in the top 5 list for Yankee home run totals since like the late 50s.
Yeah. So, oh yeah. Because he passed A-Rod, I guess
just the top 5.
Right. Yeah. I was looking at, they've got A-Rod here on the list, but I guess he's now 6th. Or he passed him a while ago, I guess. But Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Joe DiMaggio, and Yogi Berra. So yeah, I mean it's been a minute. It had to shake the dust off this list for sure.
Crazy. It's cool company. That's what I think he's creeping into that part of his career. I think that's what made me so excited, obviously because of how good he is, but him coming back as a Yankee, you're going to start seeing some all-time Yankee great type stats being thrown out there as his career continues. So it's cool to see. It's fun.
He'll be 4th by the end of the season. Joe DiMaggio, he's sitting at 358, as I mentioned. Joe DiMaggio 361. So he will have the 4th most homers in Yankees franchise history.
Looks like he's starting to heat up too. That was an 0-2 slider down and away that he hit.
Yeah.
It's all right, to left center. It's all right, you're going to start getting going here.
Yeah. For the sake of baseball, obviously as a Red Sox fan, I would never want Aaron Judge to be playing in the league longer or have come up earlier. But for the sake of baseball, and I know we've talked about this more than once, but I would have loved to have seen him be able to come up as a 21-year-old.
Yeah, it would have been insane.
Man.
I feel like we were 5 years onto his career.
I feel like we were robbed. Because of that, I feel like we were robbed.
Yeah.
And he may still get to that point. It'll just be later. And then ultimately, not having those years on the back end will get robbed of, what would be beyond, what would lie or exist beyond that. But makes you wonder. And lastly here, report came out over the weekend. Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz will remain on non-disciplinary paid leave until further notice.
That announcement is brought to you by DraftKings.
Love it.
No free ads.
No free ads. I think we mentioned it when this news first broke, but there's respected journalists floating the question of, have we seen say what you will about Luis Ortiz or whatever, but obviously with the run that Emmanuel Clase has had, I guess taking more of the spotlight here, but is it possible we've seen the last of Emmanuel Clase?
That's very possible. And that sucks. That sucks. What are you doing? No disrespect, but like, I'm not broken up about Luis Ortiz. Like,
right. Yeah. I'm with you.
Talking about a guy got Cy Young votes, dude. Like, that's dominance. This sucks. It's too bad.
We've lost some incredible baseball talent to nothing more than stupid decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we've had to have stupid conversations about said stupid decisions.
I know. At least this conversation isn't as deep and dark as some others, but
no doubt.
Still sucks. He's still likely done.
Crazy.
Even if he does come back, it's like, how is it up there? You know what I mean?
How are the mentals?
Yeah.
That's all I got. Unless you got any, unless I missed any other items, think that sort of covers it. We got a little under a month to go, as we mentioned. So we'll see how the rest of this season shakes out. I want, just sort of planning publicly here. I want to in an episode coming up here soon. I want to do as the playoff field sort of begins to come more into picture here. I want to do an episode where we look at maybe a singular reason as to why every team, you get these articles all the time, like one reason why your team could win it all. I want to sort of do something like that for the prospective playoff field, as it were.
I like that.
So, be thinking of that. And
that
if you're
gets
listening,
us into the positive side of things where we don't typically find ourselves too often.
I feel like this was a generally positive.
This was good.
Maybe September we turned a corner.
Step in the right direction.
But yeah, make a note of that. Be on the lookout for that. I think that'd be something good to do here in the coming sods.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Unless you got anything else, be sure to check out the merch, 30take.com/shop.
Happy Labor Day. I'm gonna go get in a pool.
I'm gonna go eat some ribs.
There you go. It's barbecue day. Let's face it. If there's a Monday national holiday and the weather's even somewhat remotely warm, it's for barbecue.
It is 78 and sunny here. Let me guess, 167?
Yeah, close. 105 today. We're getting there. By next Friday, I think we're down in the 80s. And
that much of a drop?
Yeah, dude.
That's like a 20-degree drop.
That's where it's like, boom, we're good. Once we hit that, you're set.
So by next Friday, you'll be wearing winter coats.
Hoodies for show. Can't wait.
Speaking of hoodies, go grab one of those.
That's nice.
Go grab one of those sweatshirts from the shop.
It's recommended.
I'm getting mine in hopefully soon. I can't wait to wear that thing.
Yeah.
I got to order it. I guess that's important.
That part too. All right. Don't go chasing curveballs, folks.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.